Welcome back to another video by Mk4. Today we're going to do a front brake pad change. So what I'm showing you here is the locking wheel nut. Absolutely essential to make sure you got this, because without that nothing's happening. So with your locking wheel nut, you've got to undo it. Undo it while the car's on the floor, so the car doesn't move anywhere. Just take your time and go for it. Then one by one, just crack each bolt while it's on the floor. If you do this while it's on the jack, it might roll off, so do this while this is on the floor because it's the safest place to do it. You can use any jack you want. Here you see I'm using the standard normal jack you get with the car. Simply wind it up at its jacking point. You should know where that is by now if you're watching these vids. Once it's jacked up, you can fully loosen the tyre, loosen the wheel. It's all simple stuff. Give it a little kick if it wants to stick. And always put this underneath the car, because you never know what could happen. It might slip, might roll, something might happen. Okay, so we're going to start this off by taking off the little rubber grommets behind the actual brake caliper itself. These hide the actual sliders, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, what I'm going to show you next are the sliders. These are the sliders that the brake caliper slides backwards and forwards on. They're 7mm Allen bolts, and it's important that you understand what these are and what they do, because they can cause sticking, can cause screeching, disproportionate power distribution in terms of the piston on the calipers. So it's important to know their functions. Now, like I said, 7mm Allen bolt. It's very simple. Just loosen it. All very simple stuff. I'm sure you could do this. Nothing really to be too worried about. I think once you get it loose enough, like I always do, use it by hand. Now, it's got like a rubber kind of grip in there, so you're going to have to wiggle it out. As you can see, the slider's a bit dirty. Do the same thing with the bottom slider as well. Just take your time, you know. Once it's loose enough, once again, use your hand and pull it down at a bit of an angle once it's taken away, so you'll get it out. Now, as you can see that they're both pretty dirty. This is normal debris. You're going to have to clean that off when you put it back on. I'll show you in a little while. Okay, now it's onto the brake fluid reservoir. You need to open this up so any pressure that we squeeze back can be relieved out through the vent. So it's not pressurized no longer. Okay, now your sliders are off. Just wedge your screwdriver somewhere just to contract it back a little bit if it's sticking. But it should be pretty much easy as I've done it here, really, once you've done what I've said. Okay, this is a strap. You must never let the brake caliper hang on the actual brake hose itself. So we're putting a strap around the caliper itself and attaching it to the suspension spring, as you can see here. Brakes are kind of, they're really important. You're going to need them when you're driving. So you don't want to cause any unnecessary stress to the hoses, the brake lines, or anything else. So just get yourself a bit of string or anything and just hook it around the spring itself. Now this side has got the sensor. This is the passenger side for us, and it's got a sensor. So this is what I'm disconnecting at the moment. That's the sensor for the brake pads. That's the one that lets you know that the car needs brakes inside. And then it's just about removing the brake pads from the caliper itself. Might be a bit rusty, you might have to fight with it a little bit, but they're gonna come out. They want to come out. Do the same thing with the other side. As you can see the cable there. Here you go. Now squeezing in the piston is very easy. Just get yourself a set of monkey wrenches. And just be patient and squeeze them in. You don't have to use all your Goliath strength. Just take your time and it will ease in. And this is why we released the reservoir earlier, so we could do this. Okay, now's the time, once you've got everything, to compare your brake pads to make sure you got the right part in the shop. Because sometimes they can put the wrong part in the shop, or just give you the wrong part in general. So side them up, match them up, make sure you've got the right brake pads so you're not fighting from trying to get them into the caliper. Okay, so here we've got a wire brush wheel. Usually use on my cordless drill, but it was dead. So what we did, we used it just to clean up all the friction parts, all the parts where the brake touches, just to make sure it's nice, clean, and functions in the way it's supposed to function. Now, like I said, I would usually use this in my drill, but as long as you clean it and use some sort of abrasive, you could use sandpaper, or maybe something else, but make sure this is clean so all the contact surfaces don't cause no problems with the brake sticking. After you've cleaned the surfaces, you want to apply some anti-seize. I may have been a bit overzealous with this, but I just don't want to have to come back and do this again. So make sure you get it on the places where the brake pads are going to touch, all the friction areas. This is the products I used. They said it was good in the shop. Do the back of the brake pads because I hate squealing brakes. I'm sure you do as well. So make sure they're greased up. Maybe I've gone a bit too much, maybe I haven't, but this is the way I chose to do it because I didn't want no noise from them brake pads. Once you've applied your anti-seize, start to fit back up the brake caliper. Now I put this side in first. I don't think it really matters what side you put in first, but this is what I did. Now if you look carefully, you realise I haven't put the right pad in. This pad was supposed to have a sensor. I changed it off camera afterwards, but make sure you get the right side in because one side's got a sensor and one side hasn't. So now once you've got it in, sandwiched in your caliper, the idea is to hook it onto the hub carrier itself. And make sure you get this right, look at your work, double check it, make sure. Here you can see I'm just pushing it on because I'm happy with it. I'm just having a look, making sure everything's touching and make sure everything's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, you're going to see this setup here. Now the brake caliper is meant to be on the outside as I'm pointing here. On the bottom, I'm going to show you, this is also meant to be on the outside touching areas. And if you look from the side here, the brake caliper is meant to be over the front. So it locks each other in. Don't know if you can see that, I hope you can understand that, but that's how it's supposed to be. Now these are your dirty sliders. They need the same treatment as the connecting areas earlier. So give them a clean with the wire brush or whatever abrasive you've got. Make sure you get it nice and clean and all that grub and grime off because you want this to function properly. So after you've given it a little clean, they're not really difficult to clean. They should look something like this, which I think is pretty good. And then add a little bit of anti-seize. I might have gone over the top there again. But I just want it to work properly. I don't want no problems. Once you've got all your anti-seize, you just slide it in and locate it by hand. No need for tools yet, just slide it in and just get it in the right area by hand. Do the same thing with the bottom one. Here you go. Find the hole. Once you find it, just drive it in. Very, very simple stuff. Just take your time. If it feels like it's too hard, you're cross-threading it. Come back out again and go again. Same thing with the top. If it feels like it's getting too hard, you're cross-threading it. But when you feel it's tight, it's tight. You don't need to push no more. You don't have to use the strength of Goliath. Now this is the brake sensor that I'm reconnecting, so the sensor works properly. And it's got like a little locating arm here, which you can see I'm clipping it into. Just squeezes in. There you go. That's how it looks when you're done. Put your rubber grommets back on your slider ends and you're done. Tighten up the wheels. Like I'm putting these in, just making them find a position where they're supposed to be off the floor, but then tighten them on the floor. So I hope that helps. Comment, rate, subscribe. Thank you.